What is up? It is me. It is I. I am the greatest there is, the greatest there was, and the greatest there ever will be. I am greatness personified. Myself. Yes, yes, Stoney greatness. And where the hell?
Say hi today.
Gosh, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
Because I'm just in it.
Yeah, I know. I know.
I'm sorry. I'm just in it. They high and I'm in it.
Oh my goodness. And we are live. And I'm here with the man of the hour. The myth. The legend. The activist. The author. The educator. The entertainer. The empowerer. The philanthropist. The Hall of Famer. The hottest thing walking. So show some respect and bend the knee because they come from all across the world to see. The man who wears the crown that hangs 2 inches from the ground. He is your king. He is my king. He is King Kevyn. Oh, well, you done did something, sir.
Oh, they don't like me today.
Oh, they do not.
Like what in the world was that?
Hurt my feelings.
Your feelings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How you think I feel?
Because I do the introduction.
Okay. There you go. It was a joke, y'all. It was just a joke. They love me. What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining us for another episode of the GreatMines show. And we are here to talk about RuPaul's Drag Race season All Stars 10.
All Stars 10, yep.
This is our episode 9.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be excited about it and give you guys a lot of great energy. And you'll get great energy from us. But I feel like this particular episode, there's been a general consensus about, amongst the dragdom that this episode has been the most meh of the entire season.
I can see it.
The most meh episode of the most meh bracket. Gosh. Am I lying? Wait. So that boy is not here with us in body, but
is in spirit.
And yes. I agree.
Well, I can see what people are saying, but I mean, honestly, it is at the end of the day, these queens are doing their best, and it is,
So I've watched this episode 4 times now, and it took the 4th time for me to even really pay attention to what was going on because nothing really, like. Do we want to talk about the competition or can we just talk about the contrived drama? Because, yeah. Or do we want to talk about the favoritism that everyone is claiming? Like, there are things around this bracket that's way more entertaining than this episode.
Well, we did kind of address the favoritism last week with the whole, thing. We could definitely touch on it again today. But
I have to because when we get to the lip sync, I'm going to have to address something.
Right, we can, but it kind of the lip sync, the results of this week's lip sync kind of points to the contrary a little bit. But yeah. So let's dive right on into this week's episode, and we're on the backs and on the heels of a Ginger and Denali lip sync, and the queens were Ginger won last week, and controversially, and so not to me, but to yeah.
In this situation, I would say to each his own because there's an argument for both.
Right. Exactly. I feel the exact same way. But we then get the queens giving away their MVQ points.
Why did they do that?
We had Diabetti giving her MVQ point to Cynthia Lee Fontaine, and then Cynthia Lee Fontaine giving her MVQ point to Diabetti. All right. Then we had Acid Betty give hers to Cynthia Lee Fontaine. All right. And then we had Alyssa Hunter give hers also to Cynthia Lee Fontaine, which leads us to the contrived drama that kind of was really pushed and peddled by the producers to us, you know, this week. Well, they edited it, so they pushed this. So we come to a bit of drama, where Diabetti had a little conflict or issues with Alyssa Hunter giving her MVQ point to Cynthia Lee Fontaine, because in the untucks and backstage in the workrooms and stuff, Alyssa has said that she would base her MVQ points off of the queen, who since day one has been consistent, all right, and has been in the tops. And so according to Diabetti, all right, when Alyssa said that, there was no one else in that room that she could possibly have been talking about
how could she?
Outside of Diabetti.
Right.
So that is what Diabetti, took it as. And since I always get good critiques and I'm in the tops, hey.
She didn't say anything.
Yeah, no.
She's there.
Yeah, we see you.
What's up, Crystal?
Hey. But it was like, Diabetti's head. I'm the only person that fits that criteria. Yeah. So when Alyssa gave hers to Cynthia Lee Fontaine, who had a very solid argument that she was one of the top two queens, right back at you. Cynthia had a very solid argument that she could have been one of the top two queens based off of last week's competition and stuff. And Cynthia has been consistent.
I mean, so consistency, absolutely.
Yes.
Top queen is subjective.
Yes. She could have been one of the top queens last week, not the week prior,
and not this week. We'll
get into this week. But based off of Alyssa's criteria, according to Diabetti, she's the only person. Cynthia did not fit the criteria. So we were treated to, I would probably say it was a 45-minute episode. We were treated to probably about 30 to 35 minutes of Diabetti arguing with Alyssa Hunter about how she can't trust her and how
it was so much.
Go ahead. Tell us how it was so much.
Well, because it makes me think about Tina and Lydia with their points. It's like, girl, I wasn't going to give you my points at any point in this competition. If you wanted to be honest, I had no reason to. And then with Alyssa and Dia, she never named you. So this world that you're living in your head, and you're dragging it out amongst everybody, because even when she goes to the other girls are like, okay, come on, girl. No, that's not what this was. And I mean, the entire episode, she found a way to weasel that conversation back up. The semis are going to be over. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting because I really feel like this bracket has been the sleepiest bracket ever. And
I've enjoyed this bracket.
And they're used to this very normal Drag Race season type energy. And they're about to get into this all-star drama, because I definitely believe that between brackets 1 and 2, there's going to be levels of drama. Like the petty stuff that we saw with Alyssa and Dia is just petty. It's like y'all trying y'all hardest to give us something beyond this ginger narrative right now, and it still ain't working, because it was a very unnecessary argument.
Mm-hmm.
Two, we'll get to that later because the whole Ginge thing is a thing.
So let's go on ahead and dive into the Maxi Challenge for the week.
This is true. Well, it depends on who the top two are.
Yeah.
It really
depends on who the top two queens, because it's a lip sync Lollapalooza. They're going to do a Snatch Game episode, and then the lip sync Lollapalooza, where everybody gets eliminated, and then they have the drawing where the eliminated queen comes back, and then that'll be the final for the crown.
So could you imagine, like hypothetically, let's say we're going to act like we don't know that Jinx is going to make it out of this break, even though she's in the lead.
Mm-hmm.
That Ginger is going to end up lip syncing hypothetically against George's.
Could
it's a possibility.
It's a possibility, yes.
But could you imagine that though?
I could imagine it. Like
really?
I could. And it would be, I think that Georges has the understanding and skill. Not saying that Denali did. Again, I agree with I forgot who said it, but like had that lip sync been on skates, it would be, it probably would have been like,
I mean,
oh
that's
my god,
Denali against anybody for that matter,
right? But like, I feel like Georges knows, how to structure. Like she's gotten better over the years,
of course,
to structure a lip sync, around the, like to incorporate the movements within the lip sync instead of, just doing movements and within just a lip sync. So I think Georges and Ginge would be actually a good battle. What'd you say?
Oh yes, Georges better know her words, because old school antics will slay the best of dancers.
Yes,
especially a professional parking bark.
Yes, like, and Ginge is a professional park and barker. So
right.
Like, so that would be, but I think that Georges has the skills and understanding to contend with a park and barker.
You know what would be crazy? And this is just again on Georges, if she pulls a stunt out her ass where she parks and barks and kills it. Like, could you imagine her parking and barking? Because that would shock the world.
It would.
Especially if she kills it.
Oh, yes.
But anyway, into the challenge.
So let's get into the challenge. So this week's Maxi Challenge is an improv challenge. All right. It is based off of The Bachelor, but it's with dogs, called The Golden Bachelor, where the queens will be various different dogs that Rue will assign them. All right. And they have to improv and try and compete for the love and affection of the golden retriever bachelor, or bitchler, if you will. But the golden retriever bitchler was played by a actor by the name of
Zane Peters.
Zane. It's in my notes. Zane Phillips.
I know it started with a P.
Zane Phillips, and he was in the movie Fire Island.
Okay.
All right. So Rue gave out.
I watched all of this movie.
I watched all of his movies. So Rue gave out the roles. Yes. So they weren't like picked or anything, but Rue gave out all the roles. So Ginger Minge was assigned the role of the boozy Saint Bernard, whom she named herself Ginger Mange.
Wait. They all named themselves?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the queens named themselves. Yes. Ginger Mange was hers. She was a boozy Saint Bernard who was a former first responder and everything, which is, the whole Saint Bernard thing. So let's talk about her performance.
Ginger Minge is one of those people who I will call her a chameleon, a master of all trades or whatever. She's like talented in like everything that she does. Like her singing country, so sewing isn't her strong suit, but she still puts together a decent look. But improv, it's just like basically saying this is the Ginger Minge show. variety sketch show, for that matter. But no, she's a rehearsed queen. She's a practice queen. She's a professional, polished queen. She's funny and she gets it. Um, from her look to her performance, and it's funny with Ginge because it's like she's doing the right amount to steal the show without outstaging people. She's when you watch her performance as this dog, she's literally in her own world, but she's very present in the scene and she knows and sees what everyone is doing and she's volleying with them. What's up, Reggie? So yeah, Ginger Minge was funny. She was on it. You know, it's hard to have a bad critique about her unless she's like just bombing, and Ginge doesn't bomb.
No, not at all. Like, I mean, everything made sense. I mean, she had the whole dog mannerisms, the whole dog mindset of, you know, just like you could tell the thought pattern. It was definitely of a dog. Like
the crazy part is it reminded you of a person. Like, you know, a person that would act the way Ginge was acting with the drinks and a little sloppy, but very chatty, but in their own world.
Yes.
Inviting you in to get drunk with them, but got their own little flask on the side.
Right.
While trying to get the bitchler to fall for her. Like, no, she did a great job.
Yes, like there was even like the joke where she came in and she was and he asked her what was in the flask and she was like brandy, but not the singer, the drink. And then
I have a question.
Was like, yeah,
have you ever?
And it was like,
and Zane, I don't care, he ain't know who Brandy is. I really strongly believe that man has no idea. Even if he knew who Brandy is, because she's just too big to not know who she is, he doesn't know her songs. At least not that one, which I don't know. How could you not know?
There were some white people watching Moesha back in the day.
Moesha doesn't mean you listen to Brandy. That's probably why you know who she is. It doesn't mean you know Brandy or her music. And I think like he might be one of those people. It was so interesting on the pit stop when it was Plasma and Monet Exchange, and they were talking about The Wiz and The Wizard of Oz. And Plasma asked Monet, have you ever seen The Wizard of Oz? And Monet said, I've never seen The Wizard of Oz. Oh my gosh. She said, well, have you ever seen The Wiz? She's like, I've never seen The Wiz. I just feel like there are those spaces where people from different cultures don't necessarily key in on certain things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Goz.
Hey.
That's a nice picture, Gozy.
Yeah, it is.
But so Ginger Minge was on it. I don't think Zayn in that situation was necessarily on it.
Yeah, no. But yeah, it was a great exchange for Ginger Minge or Ginger Mange. And she did a outstanding job throughout the whole performance, because then they had double dates, and her double date was with the next queen that we'll discuss, Alyssa Hunter, who was Katushka, all right, the mutt whore dog, all right, and yes, I'm actually talking about a mutt whore dog.
What's up, Billy?
So Alyssa Hunter's dog persona literally had puppies like on the teats and like had a litter bin full of puppies and stuff like that.
That was a gag that I enjoyed.
Yeah, it was a good gag.
That was cute.
But that was about the only good thing.
That's the most you got from it
about Alyssa's performance.
So I
like looking at Alyssa, but no,
it sucks because like I think like when she first came on, there was definitely that language barrier. I don't think that that's her issue now. It's just like I think her Spanglish isn't as clear as it should be sometimes. And it's like if you speak Spanglish, it'd be easy for almost everybody to pick up on what you're saying. But like I don't think the transitions are smooth. Be it far from me to tell anyone how to speak. But when you're delivering information, I would like to understand what you're saying. And I get it's not even about you speaking Spanish or Spanglish. It's just like sometimes it's hard to you just do it so fast that it's hard to follow everything that you're saying. And sometimes I don't even think you really know what you're saying. You don't know your Spanish doesn't always come out Spanish sometimes either. You are a beautiful looking queen, but I don't think you're a fully thought out performer.
Right. It wasn't as good of a
yes. Kai.
Yeah, yeah, I can see Kai.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't as good of a performance as you would have hoped, because I mean she had things to do there, but you know. And then it could also be the cultural understanding of what a whore is and what a whore does.
I think she understood that part. The fact that she was claiming Zayn as one of her puppy daddies. The fact that like she had puppies in a basket and some hanging off her teeth. Like she understood what was expected. She just didn't deliver on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thought. Alyssa is almost there. I wouldn't say almost. She's on the right track, but she's not almost there in my opinion. I think like she needs some more polishing. Now, I not say
All Stars 13. I would love to bring her back.
Literally about to say, I'm not upset about her being on All Stars or normal All Star seasons. I just wish that she had a full season. So I think she could have that Georges moment when Georges snapped into who she is. I think Alyssa could give us that. All right, I'm skipping a message just so I can say this. Improv isn't for everyone.
Right.
And that's the next thing. She did better than Cynthia, which I already know what that is, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, I don't think that she knew what she was supposed to do. I don't think she knew how to do it.
Right.
Those challenges catered to Ginger specifically. Kai, you always trying to jump.
I know.
Although we did speak about this last week.
We did. We spoke about it last week. And I'm going to say this, all right, when it comes to, you know, everything. And no, I will save it for the end when we give our final. I will save it. Yes. We will address this.
Ginger deserves a spot. She delivered better lip syncs. Didn't need the stunts, turns, and tricks. A lot of people think overperformance should win when it's a lip sync. Thank you for that, Billy. I think you might think a lot of the ways that Stoney and I think when it comes down to Ginger's space in this competition.
Right, and especially in comparison to her performance and everything.
How about it? No design challenge while having 4 queens that sell? Come on now.
There was the design challenge at the beginning. With the queens, with the 2 different queens, you know, wind and water. That was a design challenge.
The challenges are the same. Ginger knows how to do this competition well. Drag Race is its own thing.
Yeah, and that's what we were saying, and that's what we'll be saying.
Yes.
Give us time, folks. We have an agenda.
Right, because like it's so interesting how many people are on this Ginger thing.
And this is the hot topic.
I get it because I feel it. I think Denali really summed it up best. 2 things can be true at the same time.
Yes.
This could be a very produced, we ain't on the show, allegedly rigged show.
Right.
And Ginger Minge could really be good at doing
because at the end of the day, the queen still has to perform no matter how skewed a challenge is. A queen is not just going to walk out there in a burlap sack and say, "Look at me."
We've seen it.
We've seen it
this season.
Yes, but but it's not during a competition. Like, look, Ru, give me my win because this competition was designed for me. Like, that's not what they do, you know. So they have to turn out something in order to justify the win.
So Denali is great, but didn't do as well. No riggery. Here's my thing about that, though. I think that's subjective. It's RuPaul's Drag Race, so RuPaul makes the final decision. But I think that you could argue either way with Ginger and Denali and that lip sync.
Right.
Do we feel like Denali did a little bit much? Yes.
Yeah.
Do we think she did a good job?
Yes.
So it's like it's subjective, and that's why it's RuPaul's Drag Race.
Right. But yeah, I do think that, you know, a lot of folks do like I like, you know, feel that and everything. So let's move on from Alyssa Hunter's performance to Diabetti, who was cast as a self-absorbed poodle, a show poodle, yes. And her name was Rudel the Poodle. And I thought that Diabetti looked very much like a poodle person.
I loved her look.
Yeah, I
actually no bad critiques at all for Denali. I loved her look. I think she played her role. Diabetti, that's what's that?
Denali.
I always get the D's mixed up.
Yeah.
Sorry, y'all. On the show, not in real life. No, but Dia did a really good job. She, like I said, she looked amazing. She understood the assignment. this isn't a bad critique. It's just because of the type of character. Like RuPaul basically gave everyone what their prompts were.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish that she would have been a bit more prissy with it. She was like the nasty bitch about it, but like I wish she was a lot more prissy with
there
it.
was a bit of a diet in there, there was a bit of diet in there. I thought that she did a solid job as far as this particular challenge. Like she did come off as a pretentious show poodle and everything. And like I said, she looked great. Like, it was I thought it was a very strong performance. Like, could there have been some, like, and we'll get into where she placed at the end, but it was a very strong performance nonetheless. Anything else?
So there's a double date portion of this,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to talk about it, but let's talk about Denali first.
Yes. So Denali was cast as a emotional support spaniel, and she chose the name Danielle the Spaniel.
Cute.
Yeah. So and she was from London,
which was also cute for the character.
So she the big, I thought that Denali's performance was good. I thought that it was solid. I thought that it was very much dog centric, and honestly, I don't know if RuPaul has dogs. I would think that RuPaul has dogs. I do believe that Michelle owns dogs. But I do think that there was not a clear understanding of dogs and their tendencies and their behaviors. It was very clear. But I do feel like when it comes to Denali's character, one of the big criticisms that the judges said was that her performance didn't make sense because she was very nervous at first, and then when she got to the double date portion, it was, she was very calm, and she opened up and everything. And I'm like, honestly, that is how a dog is when a dog enters a new environment. They are very nervous. They're very, inquisitive and trying to look at things and sniff things and stuff like that. Denali was.
I think she was great.
No,
I think people are overlooking the little things that she added to making you realize that this is a dog. Number one, she's an emotional support dog, and I think that she was doing great. I think where she went left is the same space that Betty went left
on the double date. Right.
Outside of their one-on-one interaction with Zane, she did perfect. She did as good as anyone that did good on that portion of the show. But like you said, Billy, when it became the double date, it was very clear who a front runner may have been in those situations. But no, I think Denali did great. And again, when she derailed, so did Daya, and it was their show. And who was Zane at that point?
So moving on, but yeah, I would also, thank you. But I would say that was probably my favorite double date of the night, though.
The most entertaining because it was again, I think the fact that Denali and Daya went there together.
Yeah,
they included Zane when they included him, but it was definitely their show. They played well together. There wasn't an awkward chemistry between them. Whereas with the other ones, I don't know that there was any chemistry between Ginger and Alyssa and theirs.
Not much.
Not chemistry, banter a little bit.
Yeah, I would say that the chemistry was more between each individual character and Zane.
Yeah,
which is okay. Because that's the sense. But yeah. It was definitely better. The chemistry was definitely better than this next group. So we had Cynthia. Ooh.
No, go ahead. The fact you said this next group.
Yeah. So the next group includes Acid Betty, which we'll discuss in a second. But we're going to talk about Cynthia Lee Fontaine because she played Maria, the Catholic but frisky Chihuahua. This was a thing that happened.
This is a thing that should not have happened. I was the least entertained. And when I tell you guys how much I love Cynthia Lee Fontaine, she forever will be one of my favorite drag queens. I will honestly also say that I'm a little bit unimpressed with her competition this show.
This episode was a I feel like had she turned out this episode in a regular season of Drag Race, she would have been lip syncing for her life.
Yeah, she would have. Absolutely that. And again, she's one of my favorites. I was just very disappointed. Poor Cynthia. While she was committed, it didn't work.
Yeah, it did not work. Did not work in the Golden Bachelor. It did not work on the runway tonight.
Her improv performance was like somebody was drowning and reaching out for help, and she looked comfortable,
was slapping away the help because
yeah.
It's not like Acid Betty wasn't trying to throw her some lines and stuff like that.
She was trying to throw her a bone.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah, I know I'm corny, but it wasn't just Acid trying to help her, because Zane even was like trying to like interact with her, and I guess that she just didn't get it. I like the way her makeup and her headpiece was. I'm starting to also question her fashion sense a little bit. On the regular season, unfortunately, would have been sent home episode 1. Well,
episode 1. I think she would have been safe, but this episode, yes, she would have definitely been sent home or lip syncing for her life.
Yes, the country challenge was her best runway and the challenge performance in her whole 3 times competing. It absolutely was.
Yeah.
But then it stops there, and honestly, it feels like in this episode she's downgraded her performance. Which is why I'm a little bit in my feelings about the end of this episode, and we'll get into that when we get there. Wow, Rex, where you been? Hey, Rex. Good to see you.
And guys, we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Please keep the comments coming. All right. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Okay, and let folks know and tell them to come join in on the conversation too.
Also, you guys may have noticed she did sing well this episode, Lost Her Heart. Yeah. But you also may have noticed, like, there's been the past 2 weeks we have not gone live. We've pre-recorded and uploaded it. We're trying some things out, but do us a favor. When you get that notification, if you're not getting a notification, turn on the notification bell on YouTube, and then make sure you go watch it. We want to get your feedback and see what that format is like versus this way. So we're still doing both, but we would love to get your feedback.
Which ones you guys like better? Yes, right. Please let us know. Most of the older season queens did not meet the bar to wear the new generation queen packages. Acid Betty came to play. I would say that. And let's get into Acid Betty's performance
we got 2 more
here.
Things real quick. I just don't think she's good for what Drag Race is. Not every drag queen should be on this show. You can be amazing in real life, but this show is a different machine. Absolutely that. Some people, I'm glad to see them come back so we can see them on TV, but also considering, I think it's a combination of what Kai said and what Elijah's saying about the older generation and then this new package Drag Race. And then, like, I love Nicole Paige Brooks. I want to see her on TV again. I don't think that she's good at Drag Race. So yeah. And then Billy said, I like the live, waiting for my guest spot. Acid Betty is more deeper than people thought she was.
Yes.
We already know that she's talented.
Yes.
I think she's put out some amazing looks. I think that she is an underrated queen in this bracket right now. I think like we're not giving her enough credit, and she's not either.
One more, we got to talk about Acid Betty.
Okay.
Phoenix dropped the ball. I could see that. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
So Acid Betty played. Was given the role of the dominatrix Doberman, who she came up with the name of .com. So because and now let's get into because Acid Betty's performance. All right,
before you do this,
before I give my my dissertation.
Yes. So there is what the challenge is asking for. And then your interpretation of it, right? And I think based off of what you're about to say, it was a very cerebral way of approaching it. It makes perfect sense, except if you're not like if like you got to really know what's going on to really catch what Acid is doing.
Right. And I caught it. I didn't catch it on my first 2 watches. That's the thing. Like, it was entertaining my first 2 watches, but on the 3rd and the 4th watch, it was like it clicked, and it was like, oh, that's why. So if you watched Acid Betty's performance, you would have noticed that she was using a very commanding voice, like when she said her name, .com, and or like get the stick, or sit, you know what I mean, and stuff. And so Acid, and people were like, oh, she was switching between the voice, and it became, and like, I get it that it became repetitive, but right, Acid was playing a dog, okay, and a Doberman. And it unfortunately for that dog, whenever those words come out and whenever the dog hears those words, that's how they hear the word. So like whenever Dot heard her name, it was always Dot come. You know what I mean? So that's why she said, and whenever Dot, all Dot knows about sit is sit, so it's like, because that's what she hears, that's what she gets. Like, and so it was like, wow.
All right. I'm going to say this. I think that if she had a set, like if she was in the entire sketch, like when they did the murder mystery, how they were all there the whole time and then had their interviews in between and stuff.
Right.
That would have given her more time to make it stick in the way that you would get it.
Right. To kind of more establish the character through, physical means. Yeah. Character development and shit. Yeah.
She was in a small space. So if you have to watch it 3 or 4 times, that's not working in the moment. That's not great TV or competition.
Not necessarily, because
that's what I was going to get at. If we it makes sense.
Like, you watch movies and TV shows all the time.
But if it has to be explained, then you didn't do your job.
No, yes, because that's what the whole point. That's Marvel. Marvel.
No.
Nothing in Marvel is explained.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Everything is explained. Everything except for a couple of loose ends. But like, we're talking about Drag Race, where you have 3 minutes to do your thing, make it count, make it stick, and make sense. Like, yes, it's very cerebral. To add that bit in there, yes, but you should have had more to play with. That's all you had to play with. And
right.
I think that's what the complaint is.
Yeah.
If she would have done other things, which there are other things she could have done, then no one will be saying this. But if you got that one bit that makes sense, if you get it, then she didn't do as good as. I love the way she looked.
Now I understand. Yes, and her look was wow. Her look was by far, to me, the favorite dog look. My favorite dog look, and then Denali's was second. Like, I thought Denali's was real cute. But yeah, so I thought that Acid Betty's was highly underrated. Her performance was highly underrated. And that it was good. It was good. Was it a winning or a top level performance? No, not even on the 3rd and the 4th one.
Hey, I miss you. Look, she didn't stop the whole show.
I know. Just put me all out of my no. But yeah, so I understand what everyone is saying, but I want to shine a light on Acid Betty, because I feel like Acid Betty really did
the old serious drag journalist
service.
All right, but we're a serious drag journalist,
and as a serious drag journalist,
no, you have to be fair.
I'm gonna give flowers
of the show. Yeah, definitely give her props, but in the context of the show, the competition, and the time span for what she was trying to pull off, it didn't meet the mark.
Right.
If it was a chop,
I recognize that.
You would have to give her a chop. You would have to give her a chop.
Gun to my head, yes, I understand, but let's just I just want to appreciate, because I feel like Acid Betty did represent for the older the single digit.
I think she did
seasons.
She did. She was one of the best to come back.
Yeah, and everything, and especially her runway look. Her runway look this week was absolute fire, like absolute fire.
I don't want to get into her runway yet. Did we get all the queens yet?
Yes, we did. So now we can get into the best runway looks. So this week's runway was about paper. Everything had to be you had to be made of paper. So yeah, so it was a good, creative type of thing that they could have done and stuff. Yeah, but not as well. Yeah, you are correct. Not as well as Ginger. Only Irene did as well as Ginger.
Yeah, I think I would have to agree with that.
Statistically.
Well, I already have who I think.
Shout out Stat Boy.
I think the top two. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, so this runway was like, to me it gave an opportunity for the queens to be really creative and think outside the box. I would have to say the highlights of the runway was my favorite was Denali's. I thought Denali's was my favorite. It was absolutely beautiful. She looked beautiful. It was this, Mexican spirit, fox spirit folklore animal with wings, and that was wrapped around her to represent her drag family, the fox family and stuff. And it was all like paper layered and stuff like that. It was it was an art piece.
Yes. I have, there's only 6 queens. I have to highlight my favorite, honestly, 4.
Yeah, no, I have a favorite 4 because I thought that
Denali, Daya with her scale look, and
Daya's was also one of mine.
It's debatable between the two of us if she had moth antennas or
owl
feathers,
right?
But one way or another, it was sick.
Yes,
and then Acid Betty's look was so meticulous, and artful, and
those paper like dioramas that you see in the like Hallmark stores and the gift shops where it's like you got to cut it out and assemble it and stuff like that. Like that's what Acid Betty looked like. Like she looked like a paper diorama. And it was like the hair was like a chandelier and had things in it, and then the front told a story, and then the back told another story, but it fit. Like it wasn't like exactly. No Nina West, clunky, or Megami, kind of clunky, what I mean, type of stuff like that. No shade to any of those queens. Right. We love y'all, but it was kind of clunky on y'all shit. But it was good. It was good. I thoroughly liked it. And I also like Ginger Minge as well. I thought Ginger Minge was great. I do want to say this because I know that they watch the show. All right, because they copyright struck us before. All right, so Michelle, I know you're watching. All right, now I'm sorry to get hostile with you, but you don't have the girls no more, so there's no more buffer. All right,
time for this comment here. Yeah, I'm trying to get all you guys' comments on the screen.
Okay, Kai, you can sit down with Michelle and listen to this too. Because, right, Ginger Minge was Victorian, okay? Victorian. Totally different time frame, all right? From the French Revolution.
Well, how about
Marie Antoinette, like those type of totally different time frame.
Even if we were looking at Marie Antoinette's time period, Marie Antoinette was not the only person to dress in that manner,
right?
In that style of fashion. You could just be somebody from the French Revolutionary era. You can be somebody from the Victorian times. You can be from Viking times. You can be from any era. It's your expression of drag. I get tired of hearing the Marie Antoinette references. If a person's not walking with their hand in their head in their shoulder or their arm, it's not Marie Antoinette. Inspired maybe, but let people do what they want. If it looks good, if it's telling a story, then tell the story. Right,
because you have people out here that choose their drag aesthetics. And what if somebody is comfortable in that, in that particular drag aesthetic, and they look good and they turn it out and it's everything. Like, I get it.
Wait, because everybody talking about how many times have we seen shablams?
Yes.
Shablams and splits. Tired of seeing it.
Same stunts.
Are we
every queen?
You haven't heard them say it yet. I don't want to see any more shablams.
I want to see any more splits. Like, every queen got a split. Mistress splitting.
If you come out here and you don't reveal it and it don't come off right away, stop. And if you do it, like,
take
the point off. I mean, they do.
Tearaways.
But say something
under
about
a tearaways and stuff.
Because we see it too much. She def did. Wait, she def is the head and the Rococo era. Yeah, thank you, me. The French Revolution is the end of the Rococo. Okay. And I'm tired of seeing some of these young twins, vanilla queens, wearing the bare minimum, but they get praise. So, Mitchell, be fair across the board, damn it.
Thank you. And that's what I'm saying, Elijah.
I love seeing new shit. We all do.
Yes.
I mean, but if that, I'm just
But
saying
I also like
case,
seeing a new spin on an old thing. Like, you could teach a dog new tricks. All right. You just like, yeah.
Absolutely. Honestly, so in the bracket that Georgia was in this season, I feel like she elevated it because they definitely threw her around the last All-Star season she was in, but they did it again this season. But they threw her down and they threw her back up, and she was just performing and looking gracious the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
She elevated what she had already done. She did it again, but it was elevated.
Right.
Elevated.
Yes.
If you're going to do it, that's all I'm going to.
Yes.
Nymphia Wynn gave us yellow and bananas an entire season.
She gave us an elevated Marie Antoinette. No one was complaining about that. I was not complaining about that. I enjoyed it.
Kyle tired of this. He said, all right. I really enjoyed the paper rendition, though.
Yeah, I did.
It was absolutely gorgeous.
Absolutely gorgeous. And again, Victorian is totally different. And Ginger Minge pulled off Victorian very great and everything. Like, that was more, and Victorian, like, people, Victorian Dracula, all right, Frankenstein, those are Victorian era type things. Hey, but yeah. Like, you don't think vampires with French Revolution and Marie Antoinette. So,
come on, historian.
Thank you. Totally different time period.
They loved and applauded Ginger's outfit episode 1. I don't listen to shit them judges say anymore. I mean, that's a real thing too. He's really giving us a history lesson right now.
Yeah, yes, because he's fashion.
That's true. That is true. Let them eat cake. Listen. All right. So, after who did we cover?
Depends on the cake.
All right.
But they can eat it anyway.
So I'm going to give an honorable mention, although this isn't for a good thing. Cynthia Lee Fontaine. Complete chop.
Boot of the season. Golden boot.
Oh God, what is happening here?
But yeah, yeah,
and her Dingleberry green.
with the construction paper wraparound.
No, it was.
Yes, it's the golden boot. It is the golden boot. It is the golden boot.
It's the equivalent of Lala Ree's paper bag and Monet Exchange's sponge. It's the equivalent. Maybe a downgrade.
Monet's wasn't that bad.
No, it was. Her original sponge look was horrible.
Okay. Oh, Matty Morphosis, and the dude and the hoop skirt that stopped up here.
It's a rusted boot. Party City Couture. Oh God.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. Of the season.
It is.
No, yeah, of the season.
Of the season.
Nobody did worse than
nobody did worse than that.
Nicole Page Books did better, and everyone else looks in this one.
Yes.
I'm sorry, she ran and got that
without
production lunch break. Y'all are doing the most. I love it. Nicole would like to have a word. Let me tell you.
Oh my gosh.
In all sincerity and with empathy, the reason why she did this look for her liver cancer.
Right.
Listen, in solidarity, this shit still look bad. I'm sorry, Cynthia. I love you. This was not a good look. It was not a good idea.
Congratulations on your remission.
Who told you to wear this cardboard and Party City hanging things that we made in elementary school.
Yeah, the little things.
And, oh yes, yes. Well, see, that's a whole other story that we haven't really dug into with y'all. But yeah, I want to dig up some more for this because that's a thing.
Mm.
But Cynthia Lee Fontaine's look was an absolute chop.
Trash.
Yes, you, sweetheart, you are not trash.
We love you,
but your outfit is.
But that outfit was trash, and you and yeah. So let's get into the.
Billy said it.
Yep.
Yeah.
When you say you can't say colostomy bag around here without giving a shout out to the original colostomy bag of Drag Race, Tamisha.
Oh,
not saying that you the colostomy bag, but she had
that was a real thing.
Yes, yes, it's terrible. I know. I am such a terrible person.
So bad for Cynthia. Designers be. I don't think that was.
If she paid somebody for that
herself during the production.
Cynthia Lee Fontaine, I need to be your designer because you can pay me and I will do something way better with that.
I was
some
a designer
construction paper and markers.
Actually,
my daughter can draw.
I designed my look for the haunted house last year, and I got rave reviews for my look.
Yeah.
Let me do your looks, Cynthia. Let Team Greatness and King Kevyn put together some looks for you because I'm sorry. And you have some looks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it there. So, I'm not going to blame a designer for her choice to wear that. Well, Cynthia may have good looks in the next round if Acid is making them.
Well, you are spoiling for everybody. So
RuPaul picked her top two.
Yes.
Which is Denali and Ginger Minj. Now, when she called Ginger Minj's name, which was first, by the way, Ginger gave it a look like, I'm glad to get the win, but they're gonna hate me some more.
Yes,
they're really about to hate.
She knew Ginger is very savvy. Okay, she's a very savvy queen, and I'm pretty sure that she knew the craziness that was going to be on the internet. In part because when the rumored cast came out and Ginger Minj appeared on it, there was already backlash, and everything, and that was right before they started shooting and everything. There was some backlash and vitriol about Ginger being on for a fourth time, which I enjoyed. But yeah, so we had Daya versus Ginge, round 2. All right, for lip sync for the legacy, $10,000 tip and an extra point because again, by virtue of them being the top 2, they both get 2 points. So they're lip syncing for the 1 extra point. And favoritism, right? Favoritism, because you know who won that lip sync, right? Yeah, not Ginger Minj. Diabetes won that lip sync. Yeah, favoritism. So
no, I think it's still everything is in play the way production wanted it to be in play.
Yeah.
We were talking about Daya and this freaking point from Alyssa.
Right.
Didn't matter.
The mystery, the phantom point that was never promised to her or anything. Yeah.
Right. For her to win the lip sync, and now she has 3 extra points while she's crying about that 1 point. I much rather would have loved to see Denali get that point. But hey, Daya is a good performer. She's been good in this competition. Her performance overall has been really good.
Yes.
Very enjoyable. I think it was Billy who said earlier in the show that Daya wasn't his favorite at first, but like she's definitely been winning you over this season. She this
to an extent.
This stunt with this episode, I'm gonna take it with a grain of salt because it was definitely annoying. I do think that she was being encouraged by production.
Yeah, she definitely had to been egged on by production and everything, and it is. I don't blame Daya. It's not
Not that I don't blame her. Yeah, they can't use what you don't give them, but you gave them something to use.
Yeah, and it wasted the part of my life. But yeah, Daya did win that lip sync. I firmly agree that Daya won that lip sync.
Which is the next thing, because you said Ginger seemed tired. Was she tired or was she throwing it?
Was she throwing it? Right. Because honestly, if I was in Ginger's situation, I am throwing it because I know that I'm in the semifinals. I don't need this extra point. all it's going to do, and I don't need $10,000. I already got $20,000 in my bank, and she's from the South, so she is that is how they think when it comes to money. Like, I got a lot already. I don't really need a lot more.
Yeah, I think that was an effort to not be the, you know how it is. I'm good. I know I'm good. Let's let one of the other ones win for a change. But we live for face cracks like Denali, Jan, etc. Just saying, I don't. If I like a queen,
Jan's face crack, and
I mean, maybe Jan.
What's her face? Jan and Lucy LaDuca. All right, those face cracks.
They were entertaining.
Were great.
those were entertaining.
Denali's face crack.
It's like I'm on the Denali bandwagon of, like, she really was killing this bracket. I really enjoyed her talent, and when she performed, she wasn't bad in performances, and she could easily have deserved to win. She wasn't that annoying performer that, like, forces it down your throat that I'm a theater kid. It's fun to watch the theater kids, like, face crack because they do too much sometimes. I don't think that Denali was doing too much. I think she deserved all the accolades. I think that she deserved a win or two that she didn't receive, in my opinion.
Yeah, I see your point. So
Lucy,
then we had
Delusion.
So then we had the queens after the winners were announced. We had the queens come back to the front of the stage and give away their MVQ points right there on the stage, live in front of the judges. So we started off with Cynthia Lee Fontaine. Now let's give, before we give out the MVQ points, let's give the folks the roundup of the points so far. So we have Ginger Minge sitting at the top with 8. All right. We have Diet Betty in second place with 6.
You said Diet Betty?
Dia.
You sound like you said diet.
Diet Betty is sitting with 6. All right. We have Cynthia Lee Fontaine and Denali sitting tied in third right now with 4. All right. And then we have Alyssa Hunter and Acid Betty sitting at 1. So we have Cynthia Lee Fontaine giving away her MVQ point on the stage, which she chose to give it to her Puerto Rican sister. All right. She gave it to Alyssa Hunter. All right. Which doesn't hurt her chances and it doesn't help her chances. All right. But it doesn't hurt them. All right. By giving it to Denali. Okay. Then Denali goes and gives her point to Acid Betty. Again, in a situation where she's not giving it to Cynthia because that would put her out of contention for that third and final spot. And it's not going to hurt her by giving it to Acid Betty.
Right.
Then we come down to the nitty gritties. All right. Alyssa Hunter. Alyssa Hunter. All right. Gives her point to Denali instead of Cuckoo. All right. And then it all comes down to Acid Betty. All right. And she is like, oh my goodness, am I going to give it to Denali or am I going to give it to Cynthia? Oh my gosh. And she ends up giving it to her best friend, Cuckoo. All right. So there you have it. Your top 3 from the purple bracket: Ginger Minge, Dia Betty, and Cynthia Lee Fontaine. Cuckoo, mis amores. So, how do y'all feel about it? I know how I feel about it. How do you feel about it?
I mean, it is what it is. I don't think that Cynthia Lee Fontaine is a good pick for the semifinals. I think that Denali more so deserved it because she's won a challenge. She stayed in the top, a space that Cynthia hasn't been able to be in. And I feel what Acid was saying, where I'm going to use my point to the advantage of another girl. But I think she got so stuck in the fact of, I don't want to give the girls at the top the opportunity to win. I feel like your point, helping someone else out matters, but like if someone's worked hard, they deserve that point at the end of the day. And the MVQ to me would have been Denali. In all fairness, we understand these points are just throwaway points until it really matters and it's in anybody's hand. And I think that sucks for Denali.
Yeah.
But Kai doesn't feel a way about it.
I do think that, you know, Denali has a very good case of being robbed. I do feel like Cynthia is one of the weaker queens going into the finals or the semifinals.
Agreed.
But you never know. You never know.
I agree with Jaja saying here. All Stars is also a social game. Cynthia won a lot of the girls over, and it worked out this time over being in the top.
Right.
And it is
all five of her points were awarded to her. She did not win a single point.
Well, I can't say she didn't earn. She did earn it. She didn't win them.
They were awarded. Yes.
Yeah. So that's where we are. So now we're about to approach the semifinals, where we're bringing back the first three from the bracket 1 and then the second three from bracket 2.
Yeah.
So we have Bosco, Irene, Aja. We have Mrs. Isabel Brooks, Georges, Lydia Butthole Collins, and now we have Ginger Minch, Denali, and Cynthia Lee Fontaine all going to the semifinals.
So, down in the comments, tell us who your rankings are, because me and how I have them ranked going into the semifinals. All right. Starting down with with the bottom queen, I have Cynthia Lee Fontaine, not saying that, you know, again, but this is going into the merge. Then I have Aja. Hey, Mom. Then I have Mistress Isabel Brooks. Then I have Diabetes. Above her, I have Lydia Butthole Collins. Above her, I have Georges. Above her, I have Ginger Minch sitting at third. Above her, I have Irene sitting at second, and my number one ranked queen going into the semifinals, Bosco. How do you feel?
I agree with your. Let me see your list again. I agree with your bottom two, I believe. Cynthia Lee Fontaine and Aja, I do agree as the bottom two. The top two, I think you said Bosco and Irene. I think it's going to be Ginger Minch and Irene. And I think the rest of them are all interchangeable after that. It's hard for me to pick a top three. A third for the top three. You give it to Bosco. I think Bosco, Lydia, Georges, even Mistress, Odaya. I feel like any of them could jump into the top three spot.
Well, all I gotta say is this, right? Because the way that they filmed it, okay, is that I was you guys have been here. You guys will see, like, I was very much hyped for the purple bracket and to see Ginger and stuff like that, in part because of her social media activity and me being a serious drag journalist. Her social media activity during a specific time when I knew that they were filming, the second portion of All Stars. All right. So I kind of knew Ginger made it, but it was like, I knew that she was, they were filming, but her look. If you follow Ginger Minch, you know that Ginger and Mistress Isabel Brooks is that they have went under a personal transformation as of late, where they have,
lost some weight.
I didn't want to make it seem like, or sound like, jerk or weightist or body.
No, I mean, no, that's the journey that they went on for their health.
Yeah.
And I think they look amazing.
Yeah, they do look amazing, and they look amazing in drag. And because Jen be posting these videos of her walking on a smoke break to the elevator with her cigarettes in her hand and in a dress, like, just and it's like, look at Jen. So I was hyped. I am hyped for the merge. The preview shows
about
that
the merge.
Yeah,
they're doing Snatch Game.
Yes, Snatch Game is next. And a regular Snatch Game, folks.
Because I think that this third bracket was very sleepy, and we know that Mistress is the villain of the season.
Yes, and she is fully embracing her villain role.
Yeah.
More so this season than she did in her regular season.
We thought that we had a lot going on in bracket number 2, but now you have these 3 brackets, and it was said earlier, can't wait to see Mistress in the same bracket or the same challenges with Aja, or in the same room with Aja. But I think
it's going to be
just gonna be
Mistress
Aja.
and Ginge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
because the
think-
previews, it looks like Mistress and
So
Ginge.
to me, it almost makes sense that Mistress will go after Ginger Minge though, because she's the strongest one. I need to
yes.
throw her off her game.
Oh, yes.
Because if I don't, she's going to take this.
Because if I don't, we in danger, girl.
Yeah. And one way or another, I don't see it going to Mistress, but I feel like Mistress is going to give an advantage to other queens by throwing Ginger Minge off if she's successful.
Right.
Because Ginge is a very strong powerhouse of a drag queen. So let's see how this turns out.
Yes.
So next week, we are going to be going, that's after 3. We'll be going live again next week. And you guys make sure you join us back here. If you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, if you haven't already subscribed, keep the conversation going. Thank you guys for joining us with this. Share this video with other people. And like I said, keep these conversations going and join us back next week. But before I make any exit remarks, Stoney, is there anything else you would like to say to these wonderful people?
Hey, guys. Keep hanging in there. Keep hope alive. Thank y'all for coming. God bless you, and good night.
Good night.